Hello and welcome! I'm Jade of Jaded Reader, and today I'm going to be doing a video on love interests that I definitely can get behind. These are going to be some of my favorite love interests, which is going to be different than a booktube boyfriend, girlfriend, or significant other. This is more ships that I really enjoy, character dynamics that I think work really well together, characters that I feel have a really strong chemistry, and that I'm just excited about in general. I will have a different video going over characters I am more personally interested in, but today let's go over ships that I support. A quick reminder that I will be talking about love interests, so if you want no idea about who this character either ends up with or enjoys the company of in a romantic setting, please pick up another one of my videos. I'll have a different video linked up above that I think you'll enjoy instead, or you can go ahead and look at my chapters or timestamps, as I will have timestamps so you can skip through to pick books you've maybe already read before. First up on my list, I have Guinevere and Lancelot in the Guinevere Deception. This is an Arthurian legend retelling with the character Guinevere being our main character, and it is by Kiersten White. I very much so enjoyed this book for what it did with my characters. I am very picky when it comes to Arthurian legend books, and I felt that the changes in this book I totally was able to pick up on. I liked where the inspiration from the myth was, while also making it more sapphic, and it felt like this brought life to a story that I really love and that has kind of been beaten to the ground. Lancelot and Guinevere are a iconic couple and part of what is either a love triangle, a polyamorous relationship, an open relationship, or sometimes a secret forbidden love. Because I have not gotten to read the second in this series, I don't know exactly what category this falls into, but Guinevere and Lancelot in this, I very much so felt the chemistry between them, and I like how these characters are portrayed, as Guinevere is definitely not your typical damsel in distress, and Lancelot, thank goodness, Lancelot is not your typical knight. I very much so like how Lancelot is portrayed in this, and I don't want to give away the mystery of who Lancelot is, as Lancelot often has mystery surrounding them, but this Lancelot really took it for me. Go ahead and give this a shot. If you've never read an Arthurian legend before, I think this one would be a lot of fun, and I think you'd end up picking up quite a few others. Next up, I have Zuri from The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Zuri is such a fantastic character, and I love her next to Tao in The Fires of Vengeance. Tao is not an easily controlled character, and he's often making frustrating decisions, though understandable, still frustrating decisions, and Zuri keeps him in line so incredibly well, while still also having an equal partnership in their conversations and in their decisions and what they do. Neither one of these characters is in any way codependent, but they are very interdependent, and you can see them relying on each other throughout this book in a really incredible way. I also will say I gotta give points to Zuri in the chapter labeled Forbidden, as she very much so guides Tao through some very important aspects of an adult relationship, and it was a fantastic moment for everyone involved. Rage of Dragons is an adult novel that is incredibly dark and gory, as well as being an epic adventure. It follows our main character Tao, who is just wanting to raise a family and have true love, but instead ends up in an epic war and on a giant path to revenge. This has dragons, sword fights, magic, and battles to the death. Nobody is safe. You will definitely scream and shout, most likely cry, and there is a host of trigger warnings to go along with this book that I would probably become breathy trying to name. They will be listed down below because I think it's really important. Despite me having spoken on this book before, I want to make sure if I'm recommending my favorite book to you that you can actually read it and enjoy it, and please always feel free to ask questions as far as trigger warnings go. I'll do my best to describe in detail what you may or may not need to miss. Next up on my love interest, this is a spin-off trilogy of the Raven Cycle series, so if that is a book you would like to go in with no knowledge of, I go ahead and skip this one, but if you've read the Raven Cycle and you'd like to continue on with Call Down the Hawk, I can say I very much so love the love interest of Adam Parrish and Ronan Lynch. This is probably one of my favorite couples of all time, and I decided to talk about the spin-off specifically because you get more of Ronan's thoughts and understanding of the relationship. While romance is definitely not the first category I would place this book in, I definitely can feel the love and adoration that Ronan feels for Adam and Adam feels for Ronan. They're still feeling out their relationship and trying to find out who they are, and I just love how supportive they are of each other in that journey. You definitely get glimpses and moments of that, and you get a lot of sweet scenes in this that really just made it all worth the battle, and I am heavily stressed for the next book in this series. I follow Maggie Stiefvater on Twitter, and I can say for certain nothing is certain in these books, and I just love them so much. I just want them to be okay, and they definitely make the list. Also, in case you were wondering, this is the Alcrate exclusive edition that came with a specific Call Down the Hawk box. I don't know if it's available anymore, but in case you were wondering, that's the edition that this one is. Next up is a romance that was very slow to warm for me. I wasn't sure if there was even a romance to begin with, but when I got the sweet moments, I really felt them. And that is the love interest Morosco in The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. Morosco and Vasilisa are an odd mix, but they work, and it was one of those things where on page, I felt all those squeamish feelings of like romance while I was reading it, and that's always a lot of fun for me. I love a story that can have an epic tale while also having really strong romantic love interests that don't take up the entire story. I truly feel that Morosco and Vasilisa have something really amazing and beautiful while also battling their own demons and trying to take care of business. It almost seems like they're just sneaking away to have these romantic moments and that they're fleeting, and it makes me want it all the more. I can say in the first one I wasn't completely sold, but by the second one I'm in it, and I cannot wait to read the third so that I can really just have my heart ripped out, because I don't know how this is going to end. All I know is that I love them together, and I really hope that they're not torn apart. After that, I have Ren from Girls of Paper and Fire. This is by Natasha Nyung, and I very much so love this book specifically for the romance aspect. I found that it was like a sacred flame inside of a vast darkness. This story has some very hard moments, and Natasha was thoughtful enough to give us a content warning at the beginning of the book, as this does heavily feature the topic and themes of rape and sexual assault, specific with concubines. This follows our character Lei, who is growing up in a small village and is taken away from her home to serve as one of the concubines to the Demon King. There is a different caste system here. You have full demons, half demons, and humans. The humans are labeled as paper caste, and that is what Lei is. She is a human, and she is without much strength or power physically. When she is taken away, it is against her will, and she does not want to go there. She is put with a group of women who are also going to be concubines to the king, and a beautiful relationship develops out of this moment. I can say, in all honesty, this was my first sapphic romance, and it really stood out to me as me realizing that that was something that I liked and enjoyed in a romance. It really opened the door for me in experiencing more books and more romances on a larger front, and Ren in particular is really great for Lei. While I did not like the sequel to this very much, I can say that it goes over some really important parts of relationship dynamics and is realistic in some of the hurdles and hardships that a relationship will go through, especially when both are dealing with trauma and PTSD. I just really appreciated how these characters were done, and I will just always be a heavy shipper of their relationship. It's really beautiful and really, really complex. Next up, I do have another sequel. It is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and that is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is not following our first relationship, but instead dives into a different relationship. So before I get into spoilers, I'd just like to say I was not a fan of this relationship when it was first brought to me as an option. I was immediately like, no, I already have a ship for him. I do not want another one. And I was given one anyway against my will. And I'm so glad that Bridget Kemmerer did this because I love it. Getting into spoilers so I can speak a little bit more candidly, this book follows Gray and introduces a new character called Leah Mara. Leah Mara is lovely. I love her. She is such a wonderful character and just the sweetest little freaking bean, as well as being really strong and incredibly inspiring. There's just so many moments of Leah Mara that I really appreciated and enjoyed. She's now, I think, possibly my favorite character in this series, and I cannot wait to see what happens next for her. She has a very large amount of character development, but she did not do it alone. It's her relationship with Gray that really propels this forward. This is a friends to lovers type of romance where really it just starts with mutual respect and understanding and then grows into attraction and then a partnership, and I am just here for it. I loved it. There is a scene in the woods that I really enjoyed and I think really highlights this aspect of their relationship because it's not like an angsty stolen moment scene. It's like a really fierce mutual partnership scene and a mutual respect that just grows between these characters, and they are a power couple. They are not to be messed with and they're being messed with, and I don't know what I think of that, but I do know what I think of them, and it's that they're like one of the ultimate couples for me. So whether you watched the whole thing or skipped around, I would love to know whether you agree or disagree with me, or if you have an ultimate favorite like couple that you really want to highlight. I am someone who really does love a romance within my fantasy. I don't like it to be all encompassing, but more of those stolen moments and a catalyst for the plot to continue or for the stakes to be higher. If you have a book or characters that have those, I very much so would appreciate knowing about them. Either way, whether you tell me or not, I hope you are enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are, and until next time, bye! What is the name of this video? My favorite love interest. Love interest I can get behind. Not book to boyfriend. Got it. Whether you skipped around or you didn't stay, I don't know how. Hey Siri, what's a synonym for moment?
Synonyms of moment are instant, minute, second, bit, mo, we, here and now, present moment, consequence, and import.
Those aren't any of the things I wanted.